Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Hayes, and I am the Vice Chair of the State Transportation Commission, and I'll be running the meeting this morning. Before we actually bring the meeting to order, we have a few kind of housekeeping things, if you will. Since our last meeting, a couple of terms expired. Commissioner Adamany, his term expired, and he was not reappointed. Chairman Wyatt, his term expired, and he's not reappointed. I just wanted to say something, though, and I know that the State Transportation, MDOT will, and others will recognize Chairman Wyatt's service, but he was on the commission for over 12 years and 7 years as chairman, and did an outstanding job, and he will be missed. So I'm stepping in to fill his shoes temporarily, and I know those are big shoes to fill, and Todd will be missed. On another note, we have two new commissioners that we'd like to welcome to the commission. The two new commissioners are Rhonda Welburn of Detroit and Rita Brown of Birmingham. They were both appointed earlier this week, the announcement, and so Rhonda wasn't able to join us this quickly, but Rita was able to adjust her schedule. So welcome. Commissioner Brown, would you like to make a couple of comments as a new member of the State Transportation Commission?
I just want to thank you all for welcoming me, and I look forward to really working with all of you and hearing what everyone else has to say. Thank you.
With that, I'll bring the meeting to order, and we'll go right immediately to the director's report. That's another development since we last met. We would like to welcome Acting Director Brad Weifrick. Brad's been with MDOT for 27 years. A lot of us that have been on the commission, or a lot of you in the audience that are with MDOT, know what a joy and a pleasure it is to work with Brad. And I think the department's in great hands with Brad in position as acting director. And I look forward to, we'll all look forward to hearing your comments this morning, Brad.
Thank you, commissioners. It is a bit humbling to be in this position right now, but I really appreciate the support that we've gotten from the commission and of course from all the staff in the department. Could you move the line a little closer? Maybe. Or maybe I just stand closer to it. Yeah. Does that help? All right. I will go ahead here, and we got the volume about right? Okay, good deal. So a few things that I'd like to talk to you about today are some program items and some accomplishments. I want to talk to you about what we're doing with work zone safety, and talk to you a little bit about the grants that the department has been actively pursuing and quite successfully over the last couple of years, especially with the advent of the bipartisan infrastructure law opportunities. This is an infographic that our folks put together every year. I'm not going to read through every piece of it, but it really struck me the numbers this year. $3 billion of total highway investment last year in fiscal year 22. That's everything. That's road and bridge, that's maintenance, that's operations. But that's a really big number for us to be able to put into the system to help improve our transportation system for the public. You know, just a couple of the numbers, about 1,500 miles of rehab and reconstruction of our roadways, another 640 almost of our capital preventive maintenance. Again, capital preventive maintenance is an asset management strategy for us to keep good roads in good condition and stave off those large dollar reconstruct type works, along with 260 bridges, another $400+ million spent on repairing our bridges. So really a big year. I think a lot for the department, a lot for the industry to be very proud of here and providing this for their citizens of Michigan. When we talk about highway investments, I think it's important that we think about the employment that supports. you know, we're looking at approximately 37,000 jobs created with that $3 billion worth of investment. And just kind of a rule of thumb, it's for about every $1 million, we're supporting about 12 full-time employees. Those are direct and indirect. Direct would be like the construction workers actually working on the projects. Indirect could be, you know, equipment suppliers, material suppliers, other ancillary positions that obviously are necessary to feed into our program. Excuse me. For 2023, another big year, another close to $2 billion worth of work that we will be contracting. This is just construction contract dollars. I'll tell you, you'll see this list from July to June. One of the things that we try to do in the department is get as much of the work for the following construction season out to bid as early as possible. Rule of thumb again, from August to December, we hope to have 80–90% of our program in that time frame. That allows contractors time to plan, time to get materials ordered, time to schedule and get their resources around. Also allows us, when we let those earlier, to be more flexible in our time frames for the following year's construction. So that's why we look at it really in that July to December timeframe. You'll see there's a couple of big dollars outside of that. Those are likely some of our very big Rebuilding Michigan projects that are still forthcoming. Those are multiple year projects, so those will be built next year, but also probably the following year. So it makes sense to let those move into those other time frames from a schedule perspective. But again, another big year. This is what we've looked like over the last few years. You can see in 2020, the bars on here represent, the blue is our normal highway capital program investment, including maintenance. So that's our state and federal funding that we would normally have for roads and bridges. The orange there is the Rebuilding Michigan program, the $3.5 billion bond program that the governor has established and supported for us to get some very big works done. You'll see 2022 was a big year. 2023 is a very big year as well. But as we move out of the Rebuilding Michigan program, 24, 25, 26, you can see that our investments are going to be kind of back to what they were pre-Rebuilding Michigan in the 2018, 2019 time frames. This is just a real simple graph to kind of show where we are with our pavement and bridge, or I'm sorry, our pavement conditions. This is only trunk line. You know, way back when the commission established a policy to have 90% of our roads in good and fair condition. We met that goal in 2007, 2008. At that time, though, I can remember that we were still projecting that without enhanced revenue, those conditions were going to fall off. We have had some additional, injections into our revenues over the past few years. A few special programs. We had the American Recovery Act years ago. We did get a funding enhancement in late 2015 that translated into about $1.2 billion total for the state in 2019-20, and I think it was fully enacted about 2021. But again, without future additional revenues, we are still predicting that the condition of our system is declining. The other colors are just kind of levels of investment that would be necessary in order to keep those, as you can see, at the 70, 80, and potentially 90% good and fair condition. Moving off of off the program into work zone safety, it shouldn't go without saying that this week is National Work Zone Awareness Week. We are putting great effort this year into being very intentional and deliberate about being safe in our work zones, both for the workers themselves that are there and the motorists. So a few things that we have going on. There's a couple of bills in play right now for automated work zone enforcement. This is essentially setting up a radar or LiDAR unit with cameras that would track folks as they move through a work zone and provide enforcement. So these have gone through some of the committees right now, regulatory, I can't remember exactly the name of the committee that it went through, but it's been through some committees. It appears to have some good bipartisan support behind it. And again, it's a joint effort with industry, the Department of Transportation, and state police. We did do a couple of these pilots last summer, and we're likely going to do a couple of those again this year, just so people can kind of see it and understand really how it works. We always get asked about work zone training as well, and what our folks did was come up with, it's essentially a web-based Work Zone 101 training that's online. Anybody can get to it anytime. Gives you a good idea about, knowing what the signs are, what the equipment is, all the processes and the types of closures. Gives you a really good background for both the folks that are implementing, the folks that are designing, to really understand how our work zone should be most effectively and safely be set up. In addition to this, I don't have a slide or anything on it. We've actually worked on developing a matrix that our development folks, our designers, can kind of use when they're putting projects together to really kind of balance the mobility and safety aspects that we know we have to accomplish in our work zones. So that's been very valuable as well. Another slide that I don't think I have in here is another bill going through is to require positive protection for night work on freeways, meaning like a barrier. We've worked very closely with the operating engineers on that one, and that bill seems to be moving through as well. Another thing that we do on projects, and to me this kind of gets to the culture piece on when we talk about work zone safety. There's a lot of nuts and bolts things we can do, but what we've done is really incentivized and encourage discussion at the project level about how safety can be improved for work zones on that job. I was a designer back in the day, and we would lay out construction staging and tapers and the work zone devices that needed to be employed. Thought we had a pretty good idea of how this should be set up. Well, I hope folks realize when you get into the real world, things might be a little bit different. So we want to make sure that there's an avenue for our contractors and our designers to be able to come together and say, you know what we have here on paper is okay, but let's make these tweaks. Let's look at something doing maybe things just a little bit differently, and we can actually improve safety overall. And again, that safety is for the motorists and the workers in the work zone. I had some stats that I rattled off earlier this week as part of work zone awareness, but we're still looking at, last year I think we had about 4,400 crashes in our work zones. Probably about 800 of those were injury related, and last year I believe we had 16 fatalities that were work zone related. So it's a big effort. It's something, again, that the department really wants to be deliberate about in improving safety in our work zones. Completely shifting gears, I'd mentioned the program earlier, and we do now have the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, also known as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IIJA, lots of acronyms that we love. A lot of that money provided in the law is our standard formula federal aid. So this provides a lot of the same levels of federal aid that comes through the department for us to put in our programs, but it also includes a lot of discretionary opportunities, grant opportunities for everything from resiliency and climate change to safety to connecting neighborhoods and communities. It's kind of across the board, but you can see, well, I don't know how well all of you can see here very well, but over the last 2 years, we've gotten almost $200 million of discretionary money that's been brought into our program, and I really commend the efforts of the staff in the department, the folks out in the regions that are helping to identify and put this work together, the folks in our Bureau of Transportation Planning that are trying to herd the cats across statewide. But been very successful. And just a few items to bring up to you. One is the intermodal facility that we're looking to build down in Detroit. The Amtrak station there along Woodward needs some work. We have an intercity bus depot that's down off of near Howard Street, off of the Lodge. That's in need of a lot of work. The idea is, hey, why don't we put these things together and make an intermodal facility? So it's, you know, it's a $60 million project, but we got $10 million worth. We're working closely with the New Center folks in the city of Detroit on how we can, again, most appropriately implement this project. One of our banner projects, and certainly from a dollar amount standpoint is our biggest, on a $300 million project, we're looking at about $104 million worth of grant work, or grant monies that we have for this project. 375, for those who know, is kind of a freeway spur, a depressed freeway right along the edge of downtown between the Lafayette neighborhood and really the downtown area. We're looking to remove that, take it out, and add a boulevard. Looking closely at non-motorized opportunities, working closely with local advisory committees on kind of reimagining what this can look like. We will be going out to contract fairly soon with this project. One of the big items associated with 375, for those that aren't aware, when it was built back in the probably 50s, 60s, like many other urban freeways in urban areas, took out historical black neighborhood, it was essentially the black downtown of Detroit. A lot of thriving businesses, essentially wiped all of that out. So we know that no project is going to be able to right a wrong. We're not looking to correct anything, but we are looking to acknowledge and try to address to the point we can the historical nature of what happened there. So we're going to be working with local advisory groups on what sort of community enhancements can be included in the project. And even bigger, there's going to be significant amount of excess right-of-way on this project. Once we get things finalized in design and really figure out how the operations is going to work, again, we're going to be working with the community on what is the most appropriate use of that right-of-way now. Which is going to be very valuable and hopefully help really make a lot more connections through the city. Because like I said, that depressed freeway right now, you probably got about 3 or 4 opportunities for bridges, and that's about it. So very, very big, important project for the department. Actually, a lot of eyes nationally on this one as well. This one's called the Detroit Mobility and Innovation Center. It's really a $25 million grant to help us reimagine US 12 Michigan Avenue in Corktown, right in front of the old Tiger Stadium, right by the Michigan Central Railroad, working very closely with the Michigan Central folks and the city of Detroit on what this can be. And we want this to be kind of a model. It'll have dedicated lanes for transit and connected autonomous vehicles. A lot of improvements to the non-motorized in this area, all while trying to restore or maintain some of the historic nature of that road down in that area. Another one is the connecting Oak Park. I-696, when it was built years ago, it actually bisected a Orthodox Jewish community. We worked with them. I'm going to assume it was probably through the environmental process at the time to provide this plaza so they would be able to walk from one side of the freeway to the other. When you're standing up top, it looks kind of like a park, but it really is a tunnel or a structure that goes over I-696. And it's starting to leak, it's starting to show its age. So through reconnecting communities, we were able to get some money to put into that, to bring that back to a state of good repair so that it continues to be used for the intention that it was set. And that was it. I would be happy to take any questions from the commission.
Are there questions from the commission? I have one question, Director. So these grants are wonderful and they're fantastic standalone projects. When you get those kind of substantial grants, How do those flange up with the 5-year plan?
Great question. We are trying to the extent possible to align them with the work that we're doing in the 5-year plan. Yeah, because you're right. Most of these come with a match requirement. So if we get a big dollar grant, there's going to have to be money that comes from someplace to be able to match it. By utilizing projects, good projects, appropriate projects that meet the goals of those grant opportunities, we're kind of able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, help fund the program, minimize the amount of match that's required.
Thank you. Any other questions, Craig?
Mr. Director, with the work zone initiatives with the automated enforcement, did the pilot actually give tickets?
Yeah, it wasn't a pilot, it was a demonstration. It was like, it lasted about 2 hours, each of them. We did one on I-69 in the Flint area, we did one on M6 in the Grand Rapids area last year. We actually invited a lot of legislators out. We had good showings at both of them. And it was really a display and demonstration of the technology and how it works. So there was no pilot where we actually put it out there for an extended time and gave anybody tickets for it. We are learning from other states. There's several states that already do this. Mm-hmm. They are seeing some pretty good compliance numbers when it comes to speed. Speed is a huge issue from a safety standpoint in work zones. So yeah, we're kind of at that demonstration point, not necessarily a pilot.
So when do you think this will be live in Michigan if the legislation passes?
Troy, do you have any idea where this sits with legislation with the automated enforcement?
Yes,
So
it's currently on the House floor. It's been moved out of the House Regulatory Committee and the House Regulatory Reform Committee. It's now on the House floor, so it still has to go through the full House of Representatives, through the Senate committee process, and then through the Senate before it would go to the governor for her consideration of signature. So it certainly will not be during this construction season, but hopefully we can have something in place for next year.
Very good. Good questions, Commissioner Johnson. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Brad. We appreciate that. And we'll look forward to hearing from you at the next meeting, if not sooner. Going on in the agenda, the commission business. First item is the minutes from November 10th. I assume everyone had a chance to review them. Are there any comments, corrections, deletions, additions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Support.
Commissioner Turner moved. Commissioner Johnson supported. And let's just go with voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. The next item is the real estate services section, disposal of real property interest. Dee Parker will address us.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning. And here before you today to see if you have any question in regards to the real estate disposal of real property interest. Page 15 of your packet. As you see there, we have 2 4 parcels that we are selling, and so I wanted to see if you had any question in regards to those 4 parcels.
Do any of the commissioners have questions on those fairly routine real estate transactions? If not, I don't think we need a motion, do we?
No, sir. This is for information.
All right. Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate that. And then We do have a policy matter, as folks will recall. There are really two things that the commission is authorized to be involved in. One is the establishment of overall overarching policy of MDOT, and the other is basically the 5-year long-range plan of MDOT. Otherwise, most of what you see on our agendas is informational. So we do have a policy matter before us today regarding utility accommodations, and the Commission Auditor, Jack Cotter, will present that to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. Several months ago, MDOT asked that the Commission, can you hear me? Several months ago, the department asked the Commission through me to update a rather lengthy, detailed policy that currently exists until today. And instead of updating the policy for whatever it is the federal government requested and the Attorney General weighed in on, we actually suggested that perhaps we make the policy look more like a policy and a little less like a procedure. And what we're asking for today is that you accept the new policy that is much shortened, much abbreviated, and Dee can answer any questions regarding some of the details as necessary when I'm done. But I would like to read to you the policy that I'm putting forth for your consideration. The title of it is Utility Accommodation, and it states, to regulate the accommodation of municipal utilities, private utilities, lines, and facilities within the state highway right-of-way, the Michigan Department of Transportation, MDOT, shall develop and follow publicly available guidance that outlines the basis for the evaluation and approval by MDOT for requests to construct, maintain, and operate such lines and facilities upon, over, across, or under state highways. This guidance must be in compliance with all relevant federal and state laws and regulations. Federal and state laws acknowledge it is in the public interest for utility facilities to be accommodated on state highway right-of-way. See 23 CFR Part 645 and Michigan Compiled Law 247.183. MDOT has statutory authority to regulate utility accommodations within highway right-of-way through a permit process governed by state laws. Such use and occupancy shall not adversely affect highway traffic and safety or impair highway aesthetic quality as determined by MDOT, and shall not conflict with all federal, state, and local laws or regulations. And Dee, where, if you don't mind sharing, where is MDOT with the actual detailed procedure that supports, or supports this policy?
Thanks, Jack. And actually, the procedures, the guidance documents actually are done as far as completed within MDOT, as well as FHWA has also approved our documents as well. And so now the next steps is basically for MDOT internally. We're going to work to make sure these procedures and guidance documents are included in our road design manual, which is a manual that all of our designers use to help guide them as far as for designing projects and things like that. So that's pretty much where we're at right now in regards to that. So again, the documents have been approved by FHWA. We're just now working internally trying to include those in our road design manual.
And so, Commissioners, I hope that you will vote to accept this new policy, but if there's any questions for Dee or I, we're here for that as well right now.
Any questions on the part of the commission? Commissioner Johnson?
Just a comment. Utilities and utility issues are one of the driving costs when you are in a construction area if they are not handled appropriately. So I just want to applaud MDOT for addressing and modernizing policy in this regard. This is one of the high-risk areas when you are constructing. Is your utility policy in sync with the needs of getting that corridor cleared for construction? So, and the accommodation of future utilities in corridors. So I just want to say thanks to you guys for tackling this issue and getting it done.
Thank you, Commissioner. Others? I think it's a great piece of work to get it to differentiate between the policy and procedures. Any of us that have been involved in any complex organizations, you know that the more you create these complex, very wordy policies, they end up with creating more confusion and more need for further work later on, and to separate that so that procedures can be implemented, followed, and even changed and made better without having to kick it all the way back up to a policy level. But I think the policy statement is a very sound one and well thought out. And I would entertain a motion to approve that. I didn't hear which one. Okay. Commissioner Salisbury moved approval.
Support.
And Commissioner Johnson. So with that, a second. With that, Troy, why don't you do a record roll call, since it is a state MDOT policy matter.
Certainly. Thank you, Vice Chair Hayes. Vice Chair Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Salisbury,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you. With that, it's unanimous, and that policy will be considered adopted. Thank you, Jack and Dee.
Thank you so much.
While you're up there, Jack, could you give us your commission audit update?
With pleasure. This quarter, I wish to provide an update on my Office of Commission Audit outputs, which we hope has led to positive outcomes for the department. In fiscal year 2021-22, my office issued 1,215 products. This was an increase of 11% over the dreaded 2021 year, the COVID year, and a 3% increase over our efforts before COVID. As OCA remains understaffed by about 6 positions out of 29 allowed in the Department's Appropriation Act, these numbers represent a lot of hard work by OCA staff that I sincerely appreciate. Specifically, OCA performed, as part of that 1,215 products, they performed 242 assurance reviews, 440 pre-award analyses, 188 agreement reviews, 159 consultant pre-qualification reviews, and 165 consulting and advising activities. We also liaise between MDOT and audit organizations, generally like the Office of the Auditor General. OCA has a well-established track record in terms of the amount of time each type of these engagements take, and regularly measure actual hours employed with the budgeted hours employed. With these comparisons, OCA can identify training and mentoring opportunities for our staff. OCA has enjoyed, and I use the word enjoyed, it's the right word, we've enjoyed a relatively low turnover rate. As a consequence, most of the team has been performing the projects in the expected number of hours. Now, using the 80-20 rule, 80% of OCA's efforts fall into 2 categories. The assurance reviews, which used 48% of our resources last year, consist of our efforts to help ensure that the various agencies that contract with MDOT, entity that MDOT pays for non-construction services such as counties, municipalities, research organizations, and transit agencies, we help to ensure that they're paid the appropriate amounts based on the appropriate documentation. As OCA is independent of MDOT when it performs these activities, OCA doesn't have a dog in the hunt as to the results of the review. For example, in terms of dollars and instances, it is more common that OCA pays additional funds to the counties for their maintenance work on our trunk line than when we request funds back from overpayments. If the contract requires MDOT to pay actual costs is the objective measure that we seek to do. Now, the consulting and advisory reviews, the other category I was going to talk about, used about 35% of OCA's resources, and they come in several flavors. Recently, our most impactful reviews deal with visits to consultant engineering related firms and their CPA firms. In an effort to harness the power of the private sector, OCA and MDOT and the consulting industry agreed to move from my office performing all of the financial audits and reviews of the industry to requiring the consultants that receive more than $500,000 to receive a CPA audit of their indirect cost rates, which are also known as overhead rates, which are a big part of the cost. The taxpayers rely on the professionalism and abilities of the CPA firms, and OCA reviews the working papers of the CPA firms to help ensure that the CPA firms follow the professional auditing standards. In most instances, we find generally adequate compliance with the standards, and as a result, MDOT can rely on the indirect cost rate used by those consultants. Actually, the CPA reviews that we perform are part of a larger risk-based approach to ensuring the accuracy of indirect cost rates. The CPA reviews cover the lion's share of the payments to the consultants. Those over $500,000, you take those companies, that is a large part of MDOT's amount expended on consultants, okay? However, the smaller companies are allowed to self-attest to their indirect cost rates. OCA selects a few of the smaller companies each year to visit and review their accounting records and billing activities. Our efforts help ensure that the smaller companies have sufficient methodologies for billing MDOT, and as a consequence, our efforts help ensure that the amounts paid to the consultants are generally appropriate. Since implementing the risk-based approach, OCA has identified and prevented millions of dollars in actual overpayments to consultants. OCA's existence likely also has a preventative effect on entities that OCA has not recently visited. This consultant and advisory reviews also include OCA efforts to ensure whether MDOT has complied with past Office of the Auditor General findings. Each year, the Office of the Auditor General performs a handful of performance audits at MDOT. Each of those audits generally generate one or more audit findings and recommendations. In most instances, MDOT agrees with the recommendation and states that at some point in the future, it will comply with the finding. Most times, compliance cannot happen in a moment. Compliance usually requires new procedures, education about the procedures, and new processes. So when MDOT tells my office that it thinks it's ready for our review, my office will perform an engagement to identify whether MDOT is truly in compliance with the recommendation, thus preparing itself for the next time the Auditor General visits. As OCA intertwines its efforts relative to MDOT activities, OCA auditors regularly come across risks to MDOT's effectiveness, efficiency, and compliance with with various requirements. These risks represent potential opportunities for improvement. Potential because OCA doesn't always have a complete understanding of the situation. We bring up a risk and find out whether it's real through talking to the MDOT folks. If the risk is real, the appropriate folks are notified. Often the notifications are sufficient at the unit level or division level. Occasionally, the issue is more appropriately handled at the bureau level, and on relatively rare occasions, the issues rise to the level to the chief or the director. One example of a risk that we identified pertained to MDOT's cost estimation process and negotiation efforts. MDOT has spent the last few years assessing the situation and formulating activities to remedy the situations. As I understand it, things are proceeding very well in that regard. So everything that OCA does falls into the realm of recommendations to MDOT versus approvals to MDOT. This is a marked philosophical difference between the current OCA and the OCA I inherited 12 years ago. I think that nearly all of the MDOT is now aware that OCA approval should not be sought. All of OCA is aware to the extent of its power, and it is to persuade or influence MDOT to make changes if the changes are warranted. And that completes my report this quarter. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Jack. Are there questions on the part of the State Transportation Commission members? Jack, commendation to you and to your staff for the great work that you do. It's a level of what safeguard and review that the taxpayers of Michigan should feel really good about, and it certainly helps the commission feel like in an oversight, in a very elevated oversight capacity, that you know, there's a good set of eyes there as the Office of Commissioner Audit.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Speaking of oversight, we'll go on to our oversight and informational reports. Patrick McCarthy will go through a few of them.
Good
Welcome.
morning, thank you. In the informational section of your packets, we've provided 3 documents for your information. The first document consists of the first and second quarter of items that the department has let. So in the first quarter of fiscal year 23, we let 145 projects, and in the second quarter of fiscal year 23, we let 135 projects. The second document in your packet is a group of trends and charts and information related to the trends of those let activities through the last several fiscal years. This includes the number of projects let, the number of single bidders, the number of all bids rejected, as well as the payment amounts and dollars to our contractors for fiscal year 21 through 23 to date. And then the third document that we've provided is just a summary of the P-card activity that we've had this fiscal year to date. So that is the total amount paid on our P-cards, as well as the number of transactions that we've reviewed and monitored for proper activity and proper usage of those P-cards. I'd like to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions of Patrick? As some will recall, we didn't used to have a lot of these summary graphs and so on, and we've implemented those in the last, can't remember how many meetings, but they're really, really helpful. It's hard to just delve into a big packet of projects, but when you summarize them in the right graphic representation, it makes it a lot easier to grasp it and see trends and anomalies and such. So I appreciate all that hard work on that, Patrick.
Thank you, and if you have any more suggestions, we'd be happy to add other things for your use as well.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Quarterly bid justification summaries, Dee Parker again. Welcome back, Dee.
All right, commissioners here today to share information with you regards to the quarterly bid justifications. Starting with page 111 through page 217 outlines the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. Again, it shows, it highlights the graphs as far as where we're at as far as projection of our projects. It also highlights the final engineer's estimate, low bid estimate amount, as well as the percentage over. Coupled in that package as well, it talks about the justifications for those jobs, whether the jobs were rejected or we justified the project moving forward. It also has, of course, all the write-ups associated with each project. Again, those jobs that are 10% over, we have to provide a justification for, and that's what's included in your packet there. And then on pages 218 through 295 outlines the second quarter of projects there. Again, highlighting the similar information as well. low bid amounts, engineer's estimate. Again, justifications are there for those projects that we are justifying over 10% as well. And so the graphs also kind of outlines where we're at today as far as our engineer's estimates, as far as, again, percent over, percent under for each month. Again, for January, February, March in this case, which is the second quarter. As you can see, for example, in March, our percent over was about almost 11% for the projects that were let during the month of March, according to the graph that you have in front of you there. That being said, I'll take any questions you may have regarding this information.
Questions on the commission's part? Commissioner Johnson?
So do you understand that the department has changed how it puts out engineer's estimate, that this is now done in a range? How is that being received by the partners to the department?
Well, actually, Commissioner Johnson, that was a pilot for the April letting, where we did two things. We removed the eligible bidders list that currently reside out there on the website for contractors to see who's all eligible to bid on the projects. And then we also removed the pre-qual rating, the financial rating that we included in the proposal. And so for the April letting, we removed those two things, and in substitution, we added what's called the financial pre-qual rating range is what we did. So jobs that where I think we went from 0 to 2 million, maybe 2 to 5, 5 to 10, anything, and so on and so forth. So we had ranges for contractors to see, again, from a pre-qual standpoint is what we did. And so we did that for the April letting. And so right now, we're actually, I think today or actually yesterday, we sent out a survey to about, I think, over 2,000 contractors. You know, it could be, you know, small business or small contractors, large contractors, anyone basically that's pre-qualified with MDOT received a survey to kind of get their thoughts and ideas as far as how things went for April, as well as what can we do to improve the process on that piece. So that was just a pilot for the April letting. We're going back to, I'll say, our status quo for the May and June, and maybe even July. We have to see when we get the survey results back from the contractors and have some interaction with MIDA and others as well to kind of talk about next steps.
Excellent. I'd be interested in seeing at our next meeting
Okay.
the survey results that
Yes.
you guys get. So thank you.
More than happy to do that. Yes, we'll do that.
Any other questions of Dee? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And Jason, you're up to bat.
Good morning, Commission. Just going to provide a brief report on the Exhibit B that was provided to each of you. A little longer than usual since there was no meeting in January, so we have an Exhibit B projects finalized in October 2022 through March of 23. For MDOT projects, we finalized 159 projects, approximately $538 million in value. 13 projects were more than 10% over the original contract amount, and those will be brought to commission at a future date. 92 projects came in under their original contract amount. For fiscal year 2022, we are averaging about 1.22% over our original contract amount. That's a little higher than the commission has seen historically. We had a couple projects that had some substantial additional pavement repairs once work started in the field, and so that has spiked the number a little bit. I do not see a trend with that. I think those were project-specific issues, just as a side note to the commission. Local agency projects for October 2022 through March are 215 projects, totaling approximately $217 million were finalized. 10 projects were more than 10% over for locals, and 139 projects came in under original contract amount. There are specifically 13 MDOT projects and 11 local agency projects in the exhibit for this commission meeting. And with that, I can try to answer or get answers to any of the project specifics in the exhibit, or any other questions?
Any questions on the part of the commission? one of the things I think we've take a lot of pride in on behalf of MDOT is that those very low percentages and 1.22's, like you said, you recognize it, a little high. So I heard you say that it's an anomaly. So hopefully at our next meeting it'll be back to where it is, because it's an unbelievably positive statistic.
Yes.
Just what the variability numbers are. It's usually less than 1%, which is
Yeah, that's
just
why I felt it
amazing.
was worth noting something.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your bringing it right up in front of us. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Jason. Jack's back up with the 6-month financial audit follow-up.
So MDOT has a requirement that within 120 days of the issuance of one of OCA's audit reports that it acquire the input, thoughts, or agreement, concurrence by the entity that was involved in the audit. And for several years now, the 120-day requirement has been met. There's nothing to report. It's another positive thing that we're seeing, continued positive thing that we're seeing, that our audit reports, OCA audit reports, are being processed in accordance with everybody's expectations. So I ask that you accept the report.
Any questions of Jack? Okay. Thank you very much. I think we'll accept it. I don't think we need a motion, so thank you very much, Jack. Appreciate that. Okay, we are finished with our commission business and our oversight review. So we will now open it for public comment. I'm going to there are a number of people that would like to make comments today. I'm going to turn that over to Troy for introduction purposes.
Thank you, Vice Chair Hayes. Our first individual that would like to make public comment is Douglas North.
First, let me say, Commission, do not interpret my position being here today as critical. I have highly respect for the department, and allow me to say good morning and congratulations to the new directors, and congratulations, hopefully, to the director of MDOT. My name is, I should say that I represent the best interest of every taxpayer, everybody in Michigan, because what I'm going to present to you is an opportunity to generate $250 million for MDOT without increased taxation or fees. Again, good morning. My name is Douglas North. I'm retired senior project manager at MDOT Contracts for Mass Infrastructure Excavator in Jackson, Michigan. And I could have constructed more than $50 million in Michigan road improvements if MDOT had more money. I certainly respect the Commission for implementing the $3.5 billion bond issue, and speaking from experience, to fix Michigan's most unsafe bridges, namely the two on 94 under construction, nearing finishing right now. But driving around the state of Michigan, I see plywood temporarily installed underneath bridge decks to prevent concrete from going through windshields at 70 miles an hour. That's the reason why I'm here today. Since retiring, I've identified a company who has not said no to donating $250 million to MDOT if the state of Michigan will acknowledge the donation on the back of every envelope the state of Michigan sends for the next 3 years. It's a simple deal. $50 million will be donated to MDOT on August 1st of the first year, and $100 million will be donated to MDOT on August 1st for the next 2 years. And with that, I have a question. Will the Commission help me? Will the Commission put together a letter of support, a resolution, to the House and Senate Transportation Committees, to the House and Senate majority and minority leadership, to the governor, and to the Attorney General. And in closing, may I suggest a meeting with the company who has not said no to donating $250 million to MDOT to help Michigan fix bridges in order to reduce liability of the state of Michigan for bridges that are unsafe. I certainly hope, and it's not my desire, that anyone here interprets my position being here as critical. Again, I highly respect the position of the commission and, of course, MDOT. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come and speak to us. And are there any questions from any of the commissioners? Okay.
I look forward to the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to present myself to you today, and I certainly hope to hear from Troy. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next, Tori.
The next, we have a series of 5 speakers in regards to the US 127 crossovers north of St. John's in Gratiot and going up through Gratiot County. Our first speaker will be Diane Tweedy.
Thanks, everyone. We appreciate being here today to talk to you about this important problem. My name's Diana Tweedy, and I'm a retired professor from MSU and a resident of East Lansing and a member of the Tri-County Bicycle Advocacy Group. We're here to object strongly to the imposition of J-turns along the state roads that cut off the ability of bicyclists and pedestrians to be able to cross those roads. This is a hazard. It's dangerous for bicyclists, especially if there's a ditch that you have to cross in order to get there, especially if there's 60-mile-an-hour traffic that you have to cross in order to get across the street. And I'm going to leave it to our transportation engineer to explain the problem a little more closely. His background is that he's worked for 32 years with MDOT, 12 of which he was an engineer in traffic and safety. This is Art Slabowski, the division that, and he worked for the division that dealt with the kind of things we're talking about. He's got a professional engineering designation and did a lot of research into the original roundabout impositions in looking at outside of Michigan and opening them here too. He's also done a lot of research on the early directional crossovers on M5 in Detroit, which confirmed their safety, and did a lot of location and justification of left turn only lanes. He was also a member of the East Lansing Transportation Commission and was the chair of that commission, Art Slabowski.
Okay. Thank you, Diana, and thank you for, I'm going to have to do something with this microphone to be near the poster. Yeah, I didn't know how wide this audience would be or would have made something bigger. Good to be back. Greg, I remember you well from my days at MDOT, and just because we've had correspondence on this, I want to make things clear in a graphic way. Can you all see this? Okay, so we have received correspondence in your name, so you own it, that says that these changes with cutting off the cross streets are good for all modes, and we dispute that. One thing that was said, you could say about the cross traffic conflicts with bikes on the cross streets, and the other things that were said are good for signalized intersections in urban areas. So to illustrate, got to move this. When you have the typical urban situation and you have a signal here, you stop the cars coming up here for the cars who are turning off the cross street. And so anybody can get into this lane, even a bicyclist, when you have a red light operating for some 30 seconds or so, can get into this lane and make the turn. But in our rural areas, we don't really have an issue with other cars on these crossroads because they're very lightly crossroads. So you're not giving a bicyclist a break there, but you are causing a problem here because a bicycle does not have the speed to come into this, does have, okay. Does not, cannot maintain the speed to stay ahead of a car coming up here at 65 miles per hour. It's just not a safe situation. And we are not asking for something we didn't have before. We've always been able to ride our bikes on these cross streets, these very lightly traveled cross streets across the highway. We've never wanted to be able, we're not coming up here and asking for an improvement. We're asking you not to take away our access and our safety. So what we just, ironically, you're the ones, by taking away these cross streets, forcing us to share a lane with 65 mile per hour traffic. Now, another interesting thing that we've discovered is by a MSU researcher named Jonathan Kay. With any kind of traffic benefit, there's a cost somewhere. So what's happening here is you're saving these right turn angle collisions between cars, which is great, and you're causing a few side swipes, which is also, in terms of cars, you know, a side swipe is quite minor, so getting side swipes in exchange for saving right angle collisions is a good thing for cars. But for a bike, a side swipe with a car could very well be fatal, and these are potential crashes that you're adding. Another thing, it's not just the bike that's in danger, but a car avoiding a slow-moving bike could collide with another car. So that's a danger you're adding. So, in short, these are things that we want you to seriously consider, possibly putting back some of the crossovers you've taken away, but definitely not continuing this procedure of denying access to bicyclists, because we are supposed to have a complete streets policy and a consent-sensitive policy. Thank you.
Our next public speaker will be David Goodman.
That is me. I am a resident of East Lansing and a member of the Tri-County Bicycle Association. And I want to speak on the same topic. To continue, we fear that, in addition to what the points already raised, we fear this adverse treatment may be going on in other parts of the state. And I've seen East Saginaw Street where the crossovers are eliminated in favor of J-turns. It's the same thing. There are some crossovers for non-motorized traffic, but not at every street, not at every road crossing. And it's not just bicyclists, but it's also pedestrians and runners and horse and buggy, especially in the Amish parts of the state. And I think there are a lot of those up along US 127 to the north. We are also getting tired of getting a response that tells how beneficial the safety median one-way left turn lanes are. We know about this. Cutting off crossroads without any accommodation for non-motorized users is something else. So we personally, I understand all the safety reasons why for the J-turns, but what I would like to see also is some kind of a crossover for non-motorized traffic only to cross over at these crossover points, such as French Road, north of St. John's, which you'll hear more about in a minute. All right, thank you very much.
Our next public speaker will be Mike Ainsworth.
Sorry for my poor handwriting. It's Unsworth, Unsworth. I'm a retired librarian from Michigan State University. I was a founding member of the Tri-County Bicycle Association Advocacy Committee. As my colleague Dave pointed out, I'd like to discuss the frustration we've had in dealing with MDOT over this issue. A few years back, I'm sure it's more than 7 or 8, we did meet with MDOT about French Road, which, if you're familiar with going on 127, that intersection had a restaurant there, and apparently there was a lot of crashes in that area. We gave our concerns to MDOT, and we really wanted to make it clear that we didn't, as my colleague said, not to take away your J-turns, but don't destroy the crossings that were available for people that don't use cars. And a particularly bad problem we had with the French Road crossing and then with the other crossings that are now being obliterated is that these go against the county non-motorized plans. You're cutting off access for a significant set of users on that. And finally, a big element of bicycle tourism today is the so-called gravel rides on the dirt roads back in the country. Kansas has developed a nice system of not only gravel roads, but also events, races, and whatnot that celebrate this. We are shooting ourselves in the foot by blocking off access through our rural areas. And in closing, I would really like the commission to put this on a future agenda so it can be explored in depth. Thank you.
Our next public speaker will be Patrick Harrington.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. The organization that we're from is a derivative of the Delmac Bicycle Tour, which is 52 years old. It's 1,200 riders going up to Mackinac. The fund has donated over $1.8 million back into infrastructure projects throughout the state in its 50 years. It was created out of a legislative tussle whether bikes belong in the park committee legislatively or the transportation committee legislatively. So that's a quick background there. As Mike Unsworth just requested, our primary point is to get this non-motorized access topic to show up and become an agenda item. The letters that we receive back from MDOT are giving a lot of words to complete streets, and we're seeing actions that just do not give us the confidence that the non-motorized community is being seen or heard or considered. So that is the primary request. Thank you.
Our next public speaker will be Matt Penniman from the League of Michigan Bicyclists.
Thank you, Troy, and thank you, Commissioners. I'm Matt Penniman. I'm the Communications and Advocacy Director for the League of Michigan Bicyclists, and I also serve as a private citizen on the East Lansing Transportation Commission, so I get to sit on your side of the table once a month in East Lansing. We are sympathetic to the Tri-County Bicycle Association and the issues that they've raised with these J-turns, but as the statewide bicycle advocacy organization, we kind of want to look at statewide issues as well. And in our dealings with MDOT on these issues, everyone has been very polite and professional, so I don't want this to come across as criticism, but as continuous improvement and constructive feedback. We do have concerns that some of these decisions seem to be made based on anecdote rather than data, and that there are assumptions being made about the present and future volume of and location of bicycle traffic in making a decision to cut off access on these roads. And kind of an underlying assumption that bicycle traffic is insignificant compared to motor vehicle traffic and will continue to be so in the future. And there's a Yogi Berra quote that I love, that it's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. And that's especially true because bicycling is in the middle of a quiet revolution right now with the rise of e-bikes. E-bikes outsold electric cars in the US last year, according to the statistics that I've seen. They're very different in some ways from traditional bikes. A Class 3 e-bike can provide assistance up to 28 miles per hour. The range can be over 100 miles. There's a new Model J from the electric bike company that's made in California. I spec'd out with a moped-style seat and frame. You can get a pedal assist range up to 195 miles on an e-bike for only about $2,000. So the world of electric vehicles is going to look kind of different from the world of gas vehicles. It's not going to be the same, but just replacing gas stations with chargers. There will be a significantly increased variety of smaller vehicles as we see this transition play out. And so I guess our question as a statewide group is MDOT preparing for that world? We see three places where MDOT and the State Transportation Commission could take actions that would really make a difference to that preparation. One is including active transportation infrastructure in the asset management process. We have a Transportation Asset Management Council. It looks at roads and the condition of roads throughout the state. It reports up local road agencies, but it does not include non-motorized infrastructure, and it should. And second, once that data is in place, encourage MDOT to use it to map and model the completeness of bicycle networks, particularly networks that are accessible for people of all ages and abilities. The agency does this for motor vehicle traffic. It should happen for bicycles as well. There's a good model in the bike network analysis tool that People for Bikes offers. And third, we'd like to see MDOT and Michigan more broadly join 8 other states in endorsing the NACTO Urban Bikeway Design Guide, which California, Colorado, Delaware, Georgia, Massachusetts, Oregon, Virginia, and Washington have already done, along with cities like Ann Arbor, Chicago, Fort Wayne, and Indianapolis. Thank you for your time today. I'm happy to discuss these further or give further info. My email is matt@lmb.org, and thank you very much.
Our next public speaker is Dwight Washington.
Good morning, Dwight Washington. I'm a Clinton County Commissioner, and I just want to address you briefly and let you know that I have constituents who are very eager and desire to have a safe place to ride their bike for exercise, for transportation, and for community building. And as a commissioner, and we work with our road department and keep asking them, and letting them know that there is this interest from the community. And our road commission keeps coming back and talking about constraints and challenges and obstacles from actually building these roadways or these bike paths. And so I want to ask and encourage and support anything that you could do to make it easier for bikes to get onto the road. We are facing a future where the Earth is getting warmer. Climate change is affecting not only our environment around us, but it's causing a great deal of stress to people. And to be stuck in the same routine of having to get in the car and drive because there's not access or safe ways to get to work or school is really discouraging and really is damaging the morale of people who want to make a difference. So I just want to ask that you do what you can to promote and make non-motorized transportation safer and easier for people to get around the town and the community. Thank you.
That concludes our public comment period, unless there's anyone else in the audience that would like to offer public comment.
Okay, on behalf of the commission, I'd like to thank all of you who came forward and made public comments. We would just encourage the MDOT to continue dialogue with the groups to see where there might be areas of agreement. Are there any other comments to come before the commission on the part of the commissioners? Okay. Once again, welcome Commissioner Brown to the commission, and thank you all, the other commissioners, for making it this morning. Director Wyfrick, Dee, Jack, Jason, Troy. Appreciate your presentations and work today. With that, our next meeting will be Thursday, August 3rd, and with that, we are adjourned.